rather love me broke if it meant I'm living with you, and that's the realest. I would never fold the hand I'm given. I would rather lose it all than gamble my life on the river.
KXVS on 92.1. Coming soon.
This broadcast will start in 60 seconds. This broadcast will start in 45 seconds. This broadcast will start in 30 seconds. This broadcast will start in 15 seconds. This broadcast will start in 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. The Voice of Stockton. For more information on The Voice of Stockton, go to thevoiceofstockton.org.
The views and opinions expressed in the following program do not necessarily reflect those of KXVS, The Voice of Stockton, or its parents, affiliates, management, and staff.
Hello everyone, this is Pedro Avila, founder of Roadfinch, and you're listening to Challenge Mode on KXVS, The Voice of Stockton.
It's time for Challenge Mode, and here's your one and only host, Ben Sanchez.
Hey Dustin, how are you?
I'm good, how are you?
I'm great. It's been a busy week, huh?
It's always a busy week.
You got a haircut.
I did get a haircut this morning.
Good.
Yeah.
I like it.
Your haircut looks good too.
I didn't get a haircut.
I know.
I'm on the way though.
I was being sarcastic.
The guys up there at Calpine, right?
Yeah.
They always take care of me. We have a great show tonight for you guys and gals. This is Challenge Mode, in case you were curious as to what you were tuning into. The only entrepreneur show on KXVS where we follow all of the hopes, dreams, and passions of these wonderful entrepreneurs in the Central Valley. Mm-hmm. And tonight is pretty cool. We have Taylor with the Cozy Candle Shop. Welcome.
Yay, thank you.
Thanks for coming out.
Yes, thanks so much for having me.
And you know, Taylor and I met at the Stock Market, which is, of course, as you know, a bi-monthly event that's hosted by Good Stock Productions, where they get a lot of artisans, I would say crafts and vendors like that come out and have you be a part of this incredible event. And I know that was listed somewhere in there. We're just going to go right into it. How did you find out about Stock Market?
It was actually through another vendor. I was doing a farmer's market in Modesto, and the lady, she was making lemonade. She came over to me and she's like, you know, I really feel like you would do so much better, you know, in Stockton at this stock market. Mm-hmm. And I was like, stock market, what is that? So she's like, oh, I can't remember, you know, the name of it, but, you know, Google it.
Yeah.
So as soon as I Googled it, I saw, you know, outdoor market, and I kind of fell in love with just the website alone, and then I went to the stock market and
there you are, and
found my spot.
And Taylor, you do the Cozy Candle Shop.
Yes.
So before we get into your business and learn a little bit about you, I always like to ask every guest what their thoughts are on entrepreneurs and why do you feel like that's important in our community?
Well, I think entrepreneurs, they all bring something different to the community because everyone has a different view, outlook on life, and everyone sees a different need that their community has. And especially Stockton is so full of culture and so much diversity that, I mean, the sky's the limit for small business. And I think that entrepreneurs bring people together. They bring a sense of community to their wherever they may live. Especially here, it's really amazing to watch all the small businesses pop up. And yeah, they bring spirit, and everyone feels, I think when you buy from a small business, you feel like you're part of their success.
Right.
And so it definitely brings everyone together in this tight-knit community and brings money back to the valley.
Right, and I think that's important, and that's kind of one of the reasons why we have the show, is to not only promote everyone here, and it's great to build the camaraderie between us, but also to promote the economic growth and to have people understand, like, why is it so important to support the small business, right? And I think that mindset's really important. So let's talk a little bit about you and who you are, where you're from, kind of how this all started.
Well, I was born and raised in Michigan, actually, and left at 18, joined the Navy, and didn't really know where else to go after that. I was like, I know Michigan, I know Virginia, and my boyfriend was from San Jose, so moved out there to San Jose, and kind of didn't really know where to go. I was going to school for medical assisting, but didn't feel like I had the stomach for all of that. And then we had our daughter, so I was a stay-at-home mom and was going to school and just felt like I needed to do something. I had this idea of, I want to own my own coffee shop one day. I was a barista for a little bit, and really fell in love with making coffee and making people happy. Like that, I'm such an emotional person that I just want to make people feel happy all the time.
Right.
So I was like, I want to open my own coffee shop, but what can I do in the meantime that will translate to that? Because I don't want to be stagnant.
Yeah.
So I remember Googling how to make candles, and I sat on it for about a year because I wasn't sure if that's what I wanted to do, and I didn't really have the space for it. So then we moved out to Manteca to have more space, and I just remember calling my mom one day and was like, Mom, I want to start this candle business. And so she was my first investor. And and it kind of just snowballed from there. I wanted to make a candle that could easily, go towards a coffee shop. So that's where I came up with the coffee scented candles. And then it just took off from there.
Was it real easy to do? Like when you Googled it, or like what's the process on that?
It really is just melting wax, adding fragrance, and then pouring it into a vessel. And it really is that simple, 1, 2, 3. The hardest part is coming up with the recipes, making it something that has depth. That's not just one note. That's going to kind of reach the whole house and make you feel all the warm fuzzies. Okay.
So you have 2 here, and now we kind of talked a little bit before we started going live, but you said this was the one that you started with?
Yeah, this is the vanilla hazelnut latte, and that one is really close to my heart because it reminds me of walking into a family's house. Like, growing up, we would go to these coffee clutches at one of our relatives' house, and it was always the girls of the family. We'd go to someone's house, we'd drink coffee and eat, like, delicious sweets and, shamelessly. And I remember walking into one of our cousin's house and just smelling this vanilla and hazelnut and just love, and I just, that is what that candle smells like to me. And so that's my favorite one, and it just smells like love.
A whole lot of love.
Yeah, that's where it all started for me, was that vanilla hazelnut. And then once I had that, I knew I was something.
And then, so now with the season, you also have brought in, of course, the pumpkin spice latte.
I had to. This was the candle I was most looking forward to making. After I kind of perfected my coffee recipes, it was started back in March. So I was, every month, I'm like, 1 month closer to October, September now. It seemed like fall came a lot faster this year.
Yeah.
So I got that out in September, and that was the one I was really excited to make because I love pumpkin spice. Everything about pumpkin is my favorite.
Yes, and there are a lot of people that are with you on that, as you know. That's the season. You talked a little bit about being the first one at Starbucks when that came out.
Yeah, I was. I couldn't resist. I'm like, it's the first day of pumpkin spice latte season. I have to go get one.
You have to be there. It's a go-getter. And so now that you've created these, do you notice like a lot of people asking for them?
Yeah, definitely once I added the color, because when I first started out, I was too afraid of color because I didn't know what it was going to do to my recipes or anything. So once I got brave and I added a little bit of color, I noticed that it really made my pictures pop on Facebook and on Instagram. So I get a lot more requests now with the different colors that they come in.
Right. And speaking of brave, I'm actually kind of curious because you just said that you, were in the Navy.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, that's really brave in itself. Like, can you tell us a little bit about that experience?
Yeah, well, it's definitely experience. I learned a lot just about how to be an adult because there's no one there to hold your hand.
Right.
I mean, especially, I went in at 18. I just graduated high school. I wasn't really sure what the next step of my life was, and because I didn't know what I wanted to do. So my dad was in the Army, and I had told him, like, well, maybe I'll go to the military, Dad. And so when we walked up to the recruiting office, one side was Navy and one side was Army. And I just stood there and I'm like, which one do I go? My dad was trying to push me towards the Army, but I ended up going to the Navy. And like I said, I learned a lot just about how to be an adult and hold yourself to a better standard. Always be responsible and know what you're doing.
Right.
So that was really helpful to learn at such a young age. And then also it kind of allowed me to just get up and move whenever I wanted to.
Right.
There was no tethers, holding me down to any place. So those are the biggest takeaways, from that. I definitely don't regret it. It's where, I met my boyfriend and then my daughter wouldn't exist. So
yeah,
it was a good time.
How old's your daughter now?
She'll be 2 in October.
2. Wow.
Yeah.
That's amazing. And, for all the other kind of entrepreneurs out there, this month I think every guest we have is a women entrepreneur. How important is that, do you feel? Like, are you seeing all these other women that are either in our community or people that you met at Stock Market?
Yeah.
Like, what's the takeaway that you get from them when you talk to them?
It's so empowering. It's almost like we're there for ourselves, but we're there together. It's like this big sisterhood. We're all standing there with our own stands or our own canopies, and it's like, here we are.
Yeah.
And we can do it too. We're moms and, we're housewives or whatever. We can do it. And
right.
it's amazing. There's a lot of other women that I met over there at the stock market that I'm blown away by. Like, they're just who they are. And they started this, from whatever their story was. And like I was telling you earlier, Amy and Ann, I really want to get to know them better because they just are like troopers.
Well, shout out to Amy and Ann. They're like big supporters of this show. And for people that didn't know, they will be back. They were our first guests on our show when I started this show. When we were putting it together, they were like, oh yeah, we'd love to be a part of that. And it's been a great journey with them and being a part of that. And that's very cool that, you are now a part of that, right? Like, now you can be a part of this incredible journey here in Stockton with all these people. When you're thinking of doing like the business, like, how did that come about with, like, I feel like, is that the hardest part, the title, like naming it?
No, actually the Cozy Candle Shop was already in my head. Like, Cozy was my nickname. And it just fit the Cozy Candle Shop. I mean, I never really thought of any other names. It just came to me. That's my business name.
Yeah.
The hardest part for me running a business is just time management.
Yeah.
Managing the crazy ideas too. 'Cause, as soon as you start something, I feel like you just want to keep working towards it. You don't mind staying up till 2 or 3 in the morning working towards it. But, for me, I have, my daughter to look after too. So
yeah. So how long have you been doing this? Is this the first year This is the first year of the Cozy Candle Shop. Yeah. Oh my God, that's incredible.
Yeah. Well, you said your first show was back in March.
Yeah.
That's when I started.
Yeah. Okay. So yeah, that's very cool. That's awesome. And then, so what do you think about, like, when you're, obviously you figured out the formula and everything, and you've got that down, but like, do you think ahead? Like, what should I be doing now? I should probably be doing social media or something. Or?
Yeah. Social media is it's really hard for me. I don't really know how to market on social media yet. That I'm still learning. I just got an Instagram not too long ago, and using, hashtags and all of that stuff. It's still kind of foreign to me, but I'm trying. But yeah, I'm sorry.
No, that's fine. I mean, and then these are the things that I think, as you're you know, figuring just like myself, like when I'm thinking of how I'm going to market, or, you know, like we talked a little bit about before we went live on the show about, you know, making a flyer, like, is this going to work? Is it not going to work? I really need to promote the guests, and I need to figure out a way to do that efficiently and effectively. So, where do you go? Like, when do you ask, you know, your husband, or do you ask other people, or your mom? Like, what should, you know, what kind of advice can you guys give me at this point?
Yeah, I think I do. I kind of ask, like, what else should I do? What kind of pictures should I be posting? You know, when you take product photography, I know that there's specific things that you need to have around it, and I don't know. And I've asked people, like, can you help me with this? And
yeah.
There are some creative minds that I can pick, but yeah, it's a process for sure. Just learning about everything.
Yeah, so I noticed you have do you, like, when the process of the candle, is that, could you do it in a different way, or is that just like you want it in that mason jar kind of look, or do you ever think about another way to present it?
Yeah, there's actually been a lot of talk about that. My boyfriend's mom actually asked if I could do it in just like a glass, almost like a cup, and then, you know, glamorize it. And that's definitely something I'm willing to try. The mason jar, for me, I want people to see this kind of as a recyclable too. You know, once you're done with the candle, you can scrape all like the bottom part off and put it, you know, in, like, if you have what are they called, Scentsy warmers, you can use that, and then you can wash this out, and there you go, you have a mason jar. And it's also just simple too. And that's what I like about them. They're versatile, they're simple, and they're recyclable. Recyclable. And that's what I like about the mason jars, but I'm always open to new ideas.
Yeah.
You know, it's always me tinkering around in my kitchen, seeing what else I can put wax in. I actually had a big mug that I filled with wax and was a candle, and it worked out pretty nice. But yeah, just anything that people throw at me, I'll never turn an idea down.
Now, how has it been since, because you've expanded a little bit? I followed you on Instagram and then on Facebook. Have you gotten any kind of comments, or anybody that have looked at the pictures and kind of reached out to you, or sent you a message or anything like that since you've been out?
No, I don't think so. Nope, just orders.
Just a lot of
Yeah.
So now a lot of people know where you are,
Yeah.
and then you know, orders. So you do the online. Okay.
Yep, my online store is thecozykandleshop.com.
So people can. So what else can people get? Like, because you talked about, you've got the pumpkin spice, and then you've got the vanilla. But what else is out there? Or have you thought? I mean, because you're talking about crazy ideas. Like, what? How broad does the spectrum go for that?
Well, it goes pretty far. My core candles, I want to keep the coffee house collection, is what I call it. So that's vanilla hazelnut latte, vanilla bean, caramel, and mocha. So those will always be my staples. And then throughout the seasons, I will add one drink-inspired candle and then 2 or 3 other just nice scents. So let me think. For Christmas, I definitely am going to have a peppermint mocha latte.
Oh.
And then I think I'm going to do like a Christmas tree, or maybe just a cinnamon candle. I'm not really sure yet, but those are some ideas that I'm kind of starting to think about, because you have to think like 2 or 3 months in advance.
Right, yeah. And then, so obviously you do the different sizes too. So what has been the most popular? Do people gravitate those smaller ones? Or?
They do.
They do?
Yeah.
Okay.
And, you know, it's good too, because people don't know my product yet. So
yeah.
So they do try out the little ones, and I do get comments like, or people message me back and say, I love your candle. Like, it smells so good. It smells so comforting. And so then they do come back and they order the bigger ones.
Yeah. So let's talk more about like your experience up to the stock market, when you were like kind of finalizing everything. Were you doing any type of events at all? Like,
yeah, I did 1 or 2 farmers markets in Manteca and Modesto. And then I did one event at the Weberstown Mall here in Stockton.
oh, okay.
And didn't have a whole lot of success, but that's just with any small business. You know, it takes time.
Right.
So, but it did allow me time to finalize and get down all the details that I needed to make it successful. So this next stock market coming up in October, I am so
You're
excited.
back.
I am.
That's awesome. So what was the one in Weberstown Mall? Was that just like a small kind of event?
There's a coordinator in Manteca, Mary. She has set up she sets up the farmers markets in Manteca, and then there are other events that she's done. I want to say like trial ones, and then if people do well, then she goes back and tries to work out a contract with like the mall or any other event spaces. So that first one in Stockton was her first one, and now she goes back. I think she did one for Labor Day and some other times too.
So is that kind of a similar setup where you bring all your stuff and you're a pop-up inside the mall?
Yep. Well, that one you can choose to have a canopy or not. I didn't have a canopy when I first started, so it was just me and my little inky dinky table. I have that's actually my business card picture. Is the first picture I took of myself at that table.
Oh, that's cool. Yeah, I do have that card still. Yeah, and so when you're now you're kind of branching out into social media, you think about like the business cards and the flyers and things like that. Do you design them all, or do people kind of help you like with that, or do you show them like, oh, what do you think of this? Or
yeah, I've designed both my business cards. I had the very first one that was ugly.
Oh.
It was just this basic, Taylor Cozik, owner of the Cozy Candle Shop, and it was something I wasn't proud of. But I mean, I didn't know how to do it until I was able to sit down on my computer and actually go through all of the different types of business cards that there are. So once I figured out the actual card size that I wanted, I just played with it, and then I designed it. So
what is the one thing that you struggled with the most when you started, and you're like, golly, I wish I had help on this?
Or
maybe there's multiple things.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it's hard because being a mother is my first job. You know, my daughter will always be my first concern. So it was hard at the very beginning managing my time between sitting at my computer or at my desk and writing or typing while she needed something. You know, that was the hardest part. If I had someone to watch her 24/7, that would have been great.
Yeah.
But
and she's in your videos too, a little bit.
She
and
makes
I think
a
that's
cameo.
Cool. And that's awesome.
Yeah, she's not afraid of the camera. She'll just get up there and do whatever she wants, which is awesome for me. You know, because I want her to be a part of this.
Right.
Hopefully, one day this is something that she can take over, or at least always have the memory of mom going to sell candles.
Yeah. And I think that's really cool that, you know, when you have something like that, integrating other people in that. And do you find that, because I think when I met you at Stock Market, you were just by yourself, right? You didn't have any help? You set that all up?
Well, I think the gentleman next to me, the Take a Break clothing guy, he did help me, I think, put up my tent because I was struggling.
Okay.
But, yeah, that's all me.
And then, so talk about the experience with Stock Market. Now that you'd signed up, you'd contacted Amy and Ann for that. Like, talk about that experience with Stock Market, getting involved and like just being a part of that last month.
Okay, last month was awesome. I had such a great time, even though it was so hot.
Yeah. Well, we had Terra Coffee across from you too.
Yes, and I did get one of those iced coffees, and it shot me right up. I was so happy. I love the stock market. It's unlike any event I've ever been to. You know, it's just so full of life. And everyone I was talking to just all had a smile on their face, and everyone was happy to be there. And I think it was better for me that time around because I think more people knew about me through my Facebook and my Instagram. So more people were like, oh, you're the coffee person, or the coffee candle person. And so I made a lot of connections. These past, I think, 2 stock markets I've done, one June and August.
So before we met, you were at the one before that.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep. It's just been a lot of networking, a lot of talking to people, and it's been great. You know, I'd say that is just as important as selling, you know, is networking, because without that I wouldn't be here.
Exactly. So. Networking, and I think every guest has said that on the show, like how important networking is.
Oh yeah, it's huge.
So when you started off in June, what was obviously it was positive feedback from everyone in that first one, and then what was kind of the drive, that was obviously the driving force to come again? Yeah,
absolutely. I want to say my very first one, I still only had my one table and someone had told me, like, you need to bring your table back, you need to have a shelf, you know, invite people in and make it more of a store feeling.
Yeah.
So this last one I went to, I had a bookshelf, I had 2 tables. I was so proud of that second table.
Was that the one that had the little high with the candles across?
Yep. Yeah.
Okay, yeah, that was cool.
Thank you. I was actually really proud of that. I was very, like, I
have some I think I have some photos on Facebook of that particular shelf anyway, yeah.
Yeah, it was, I mean, I kind of took a step back and said, oh, I made it. Even though it's, you know, I didn't really make it anywhere. It's just having that bookshelf and that second table really kind of made me feel like I'm a step up.
Yeah, but like those small successes are important, don't you think?
Oh,
like,
absolutely. Yeah. Because there's a lot of work that goes behind all of that, you know, just one day of selling. It's a lot of back work.
So what can we expect, like, at the next stock market? Obviously, it sounds like you're learning a little bit at each one, and you're kind of making adjustments as you go. What can we see or expect in October?
Definitely the fall collection, more colors, more fall colors. I haven't really thought about my design of my canopy yet, because I've been so focused on getting all of those made and perfecting all of the details on those ones. I'm not sure. Probably a similar setup with the bookshelf and the 2 tables. I might have like a giveaway or something.
Oh,
yeah.
There you go.
I want to start also a candle subscription service, because subscriptions are like so the thing now.
Yeah.
And I thought, well, I could do, you know, sign up and get a candle every month, and we'll see how that goes. But probably a giveaway, something like that.
So when obviously a lot of this is a kind of a do-it-yourself and doing the research and jumping in after, you know, you went and did the Navy and all that. So what I guess one of my questions would be, what brought you to Stockton? Because you're in San Jose.
Yeah.
So how did you come up this way?
Well, we moved to Manteca last November because we just needed the space. I mean, we were in a small 1-bedroom apartment out there in the Bay Area, and it's so,
cost of living, it's
it was
high.
crazy. And we're like, we don't want this life for our kid. You know, she's too crazy for a 1-bedroom apartment. She needs the room to just get all her energy out. So we moved to Manteca, and she loves that space. And I was doing a few events in Manteca and really felt that it wasn't my area for candles. This, I think people don't really get the idea. They're like, coffee scented candles, why? So, so when I went to the stock market for the first time, there was a lot of interest, and a lot of people really loved my ideas, and they're like, this is great, I've never heard of this before.
Right.
So I finally felt like, oh, maybe this is where I should be. And the more time I spend in Stockton, the more I love it. Yeah. The more I just am like, this is where I want to be.
That's cool. And then now, because we talked a little bit about Sacramento, now, obviously, because, you know, time management's a huge thing, but like looking into research about, you know, things and this kind of product, do you ever think, oh, maybe it might work in Sacramento or somewhere else? Do you ever think about just doing research or maybe finding an event out there to try?
Yeah, there was an event in Sacramento or near Sacramento that I wanted to do, but I was scared.
Oh, okay.
Because it's, I mean, you never know.
Yeah.
But also, I mean, I could go up there and I could sell out. You know, you never know. But it's on my to-do list, I think, to check out Sacramento.
It's on the horizon.
Yeah.
And that's just the you know, the part of being an entrepreneur. You're taking risks, right? You know, you find a little success, and then you kind of roll the dice, and then you looked, and stock market's working. So, you know, obviously this is your third go around. Now, how else would you like to kind of get integrated in Stockton? You're a part of this, but what else do you think would be beneficial to do in the community?
Yeah, you know, I would love to partner up, like I said before, Ann and Amy, just with their events and everything. I follow them on Instagram and see like the Green Table, I think. I want to go to more events like that, more local businesses, and just meet the people out here. Yeah. It's hard, you know, living in Manteca. I have to drive up this way, and then, you know, I have my 2-year-old who really doesn't like car rides. Yeah. So it's a balancing act and trying to figure out when I can come out here. I did go to Terra Coffee, and I went to the bilingual story time.
Oh, very cool.
Yeah.
How was that?
It was a lot of fun. My daughter, she absolutely loved it.
Really? That's cool.
Yeah, she had such a great time because all the kids were her age. And so I went there. Unfortunately, I can't make it because I have a job now.
Yeah.
And I work on Mondays. But that, I want to go back all the time to Terra Coffee, and especially to that, Mexican Heritage Center, because my daughter is biracial, and I feel like that's really important for her to know.
Yeah.
And especially for her to learn Spanish too. That's my goal too, is to learn Spanish.
Oh, that's my goal too. It's funny. Your last name's Sanchez, and just like my grandparents, just it was just one of those things. Like you just didn't think it. Growing up, I didn't know the value to that, right?
Yeah.
And I think that's really important. Now, talk a little bit about this bilingual, because I saw it, but I didn't go to it. So talk a little bit about your experience there with that event and what it was and what you got out of it.
Yeah, it was really just a few moms with their kids. We came, and there was some, I think she had like a ball pit for the kids to play in. And then, have you been inside that little museum part? So there's a stage right up there.
Yeah.
And my daughter, and then the lady who was reading the stories, her daughter got up there, and they were singing and dancing.
Oh, okay.
Put on a little show for us.
Yeah.
But it was really just getting the kids together, and she would read and sing in English and Spanish. And
okay.
It was, just as important for me too, because those are songs that I need to teach my daughter too.
Right.
It was a lot of fun. It wasn't very structured. Toddlers, you can't really structure them.
Yeah, it's hard. Yeah.
They just go wherever they want to. So it was just really good to talk to other moms local to that area and just hang out.
Yeah.
As stay-at-home moms, we don't really get to hang out with a lot of people.
Yeah, well, and then it's trying to figure out like how you can all because now there's all kinds of stuff. There's like Meetup and other things, and you can kind of figure out things to your schedule for you because you're so busy, or somebody can't watch your daughter, and then to come out to do something like this, right?
Yeah.
And that's why it was like, oh, let's schedule you like ahead of time to see, and that's really cool that you're able to come out and talk about a lot of these things, because I think that is a struggle for maybe other stay-at-home moms that maybe have an idea, but then it's like, well, I'm not really sure, or maybe you're scared to do it, but here you are and you're doing it right now, and I think that's really cool.
Oh, thank you. It was definitely like I really look forward to working on my candle business every day. Like it's not anything that I'm scared of anymore, because that is the hardest part, is just doing it. And I'm so glad that I did it, because it's amazing. And even if you're not successful, like you're bringing in millions of dollars, I love making these candles, and I love seeing people when they smell my candles. That it makes it all worth it. Yeah.
And we talked about your supporters, and you talked a little bit about your mom being like your biggest supporter. Talk a little bit about your relationship with your mom and how influential she's been for this.
My mom, I love my mom. It's hard being away from her, especially me being a mom. But our phone conversations we have daily, she's always telling me how proud she is of me, and she really did push me to start the candles and say, whatever you need, just get it and do it. Because her and my dad both, they just really believe in me, and that your support system. As an entrepreneur, and especially as a mompreneur, I think they call it the term.
There you go. Yeah, mompreneur. Okay.
Your support system is everything. So for her and my dad and my sister and all of my family out there, it's awesome. I think she smelled all of my candles. I sent her a package of everything, and she smelled them all and gave me her feedback, which was nice. And I don't think she was biased at all. But she said, everything was great. She helped me with the design and everything like that. So it's hard being away, but at the same time, the technology nowadays with FaceTime and all of that, it's almost the same.
It's easy to connect now with people through Skype or FaceTime, things like that. And I think that's super. You're right. You hit an important point, that it is important to have that support system, because I think there is this, like I tell people, and we've had guests on the show, like doubt is the biggest thing, right?
Yes.
Like you can have like this self-doubt, and then it's just like you don't want to do it, and then you're just you just pull back, but you'd never know, right? And I think that's the coolest thing about this, is you're taking risks, and you're you're putting it out there, and these are awesome because we stopped by your booth and it was great. It'd be awesome to collaborate with different people and have like a Terra coffee candle or something. And
well, that's actually what we talked about at the stock market. The owner and I had let her know that I've done it before where I've made coffee scented candles for another business in their coffee mugs.
Oh,
yeah,
that's pretty awesome.
Yeah, because it just goes hand in hand. And so we had kind of talked about making a bundle, pound of coffee with a candle and
the cup. That I would be all over that because I do. Well, actually, Laura's the one that got me into coffee. So and then it was just kind of like, hey, we need a little help here, a little help here, and then I'm part of the journey with them and seeing them roast out of just their house, and now really? And then and then of course you're over there now, and they're in an actual place. Yeah. And so that's cool, and that's something that's really, like you say, it's really part of like this whole, all these entrepreneurs are learning and growing together. And just being a part of this incredible huge story that to see you go from point A to point whatever, and it's really awesome, like to see that, just like you're talking about the shift of your setup. And now I think that was the first time I saw your setup, and I thought that was awesome because it really showcases, and it does. You do really play with the theme of it. You do really feel like if I come into your booth, it is welcome. It is cozy, and then you have the shelves and everything and the little different signage and stuff. And I think as you think more about it, or as you get more creative, you'll build upon that, right?
Oh, absolutely. That's, my booth at the stock market, for me, that's my store, and I want to set it up just as you would be walking into a store and be so warm and inviting and welcoming. And even if you don't buy anything, that's fine. Like just to come in and look is fine with me. Yeah. Free smells.
Yeah. There you go. There's a great tagline, right? Yeah. And those are things to think about. And so when you're coming up with like a lot of these ideas, do you just jot them down?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I actually have my notebook with me, and it's just filled with random notes and math equations, and I've tried so many times to compile it all in one thing, and it never works because it's just my brain. I'm just like, oh yeah, I gotta write that down, and then I go on and do something else.
Well, as a writer, I'll tell you, there's nothing wrong with having multiple notebooks.
Oh, thank you.
That is not a problem. That shouldn't be a problem.
Okay.
Just don't lose them.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. I've done that too, where my daughter's kind of played with all the papers, and she's like, oh, color, and she wants to color, and I lose things that way, but she's having fun.
Yeah. And that's the cool thing, is that they can be a part of that, and they'll you'll snapshot it and remember those things. So what's next for the candle shop? What's on the horizon? We've got the pumpkin spice, so that's here. You talked a little bit about maybe in December a peppermint. So what else do you see for this year?
This year? Oh, wow. Well, definitely stock market in October. I know that there's also something that goes on in December, like a holiday sales thing or outdoor market.
Yeah, there's that. And then I don't know if Amy and Ann are doing it again this year, but they usually do one. They did one last year in the Civic Auditorium. Okay. Which was really cool. I didn't get to go to that one, but the Civic Auditorium is like one of those really historical buildings in Stockton for me, because it was like wrestling happened a lot in there. Okay. So yeah, they kind of transformed it into a indoor stock market. Nice. So if they bring that back, that's probably on the horizon in December.
Absolutely. I don't know too much about the next few months as far as like where I'll be, but I know where I want to be in about 3 years. I'd really like to have a storefront.
And that's great. Like I think it's good to have like a really long-term goal like that. You've got your mission, and then that's kind of like the vision, right?
Yeah, that's the ultimate dream. When I first started my whole like entrepreneur journey, thinking about owning my own coffee shop, I didn't realized that there were going to be so many, like, what are they called, hills and valleys, and I realized after I made my first candle, I was like, maybe this is what I want to do. Yeah. And ever since then, I've kind of put that dream of owning a coffee shop kind of on the back burner, because there are plenty of amazing coffee shops here in Stockton. Yeah. That I'm like, what? I'm okay with that. They're amazing. I'll go and support them, and I think I'll do my candles.
Yeah, and maybe even down the road you can integrate these candles at different spots, right? You know, like you can go to different businesses and somehow find a way to collaborate and to say like, oh yeah, you know, you can get the Cozy Candle Shop candles here at this place or at this place.
Yeah, I've left my card with Terra Coffee, and I've also left my card at Trail Roasters.
Oh yeah, okay.
So both of them have my card, and I'm gonna go back and
next
get some
stop
coffee.
Impresso Coffee House.
I don't know about that one.
Okay, well we have 2 locations here in Stockton. There's Impresso Coffee Houses on Pershing and March, and then there's another one that's downtown across from the old courthouse. But they're actually opening up another one. When I happened to get coffee and talk to the owner, and he said there's a spot on the corner where the theater is in Janet Lee Plaza. And it used to be a Starbucks, but then Starbucks made and built their own with a Chase Bank and stuff. So it's a drive-through. It's more convenient. So that spot was open. So they're like, oh yeah, we'll take it. So they're working. So that'll be their 3rd location. So it's something to think about.
I'm gonna have to go by there
and check it out. But yeah, definitely. And Pershing gets a lot of traffic because Delta College, tons of students coming through and grabbing something. And I think to just be another avenue for you.
Yeah, absolutely. I think I've been kind of focusing on making the candles in their mugs for them. But yeah, even just having my candles there would be sufficient just to work together. Because like I said, I mean, entrepreneurs all here in the Valley, we're here for ourselves, but we're also here together. You know, we want to see everyone else succeed too.
Exactly. And I think that's the most important thing. And we talked about that because you had said you were looking, slowly going through older episodes. And I do, every time I talk to a lot of we had some motivational speakers. They couldn't come in, but we, got them on the phone and for a very brief moment, but some of the key takeaways was just don't be the lone gunman, right?
Yeah.
Just, try and work together because there are people out there like that. I just want to do it on my own and I don't want to do it, these ways. Or and it's hard sometimes depending on who you get criticism from. I think that's difficult, but I think there's a positive way to do that, right?
Oh, yeah. And I definitely want to say I was that person at one point because I had this idea and I wanted to keep it to myself. I'm like, well, this is my idea. And I want to be able to do it, for myself, by myself. But there's so much value in talking to other people that this would not be where it is without talking to other people, without getting their inputs and their criticisms. And it's all to make you better, make your idea better. No one, I don't think, wants to steal your idea.
No, I don't think so.
Everyone just wants to, see everyone succeed.
Of course. And that's the most important goal. And that's kind of what I emphasize to people is you want to be consistent with what you're doing. You want to collaborate with as many people as you can, but still be creative at the same time, right? And I think there's avenues for this to get creative, and I think it's something that people have gravitated to. You've got a lot of feedback. You've got a lot of people saying, I want this, or I'm getting orders, and I want to come back and support it. So October 10th, I think.
13th.
Is it the 13th? October 13th.
Yeah.
That's an interesting date.
I know. I might have to come out with a black candle.
There you go. That would be cool. That would be a cool themed for that month. So Stock Market, October 13th. That's 10 to 4 at MLK Plaza. So you can catch Taylor out there at the Cozy Candle Shop. And of course, you have an Instagram now and a Facebook. So that's the Cozy Candle Shop. And Instagram's this also the Cozy Candle Shop?
It's Cozy Candle Shop.
Cozy Candle Shop.
No the.
So you can catch her on Facebook, you can catch her on Instagram, and then of course you have the website.
Yes. TheCozyCandleShop.com.
And then you take orders there. Now, do people reach out to you on Facebook, or you just drive them over to the site to do the orders?
Yeah, they just message me. They're like, hey, I want this candle, and it works that way too. I'd like more people to go through my store because then I'm able to see like inventory wise.
Oh, okay, yeah.
But either way works for me. I'm pretty mellow and easygoing with all of that.
Yeah,
so that's fine.
And that's cool. And you've gotten like some reviews already on Facebook, right? Which is pretty cool.
Yeah, It always makes me, I never ask anybody to do it. If you want to review me, awesome. If not, that's totally fine. But yeah, a lot of people have given me 5 stars.
Do you, so, cause I order sometimes like from different sellers and stuff. Do you do like personalized stuff? Like when you put it in, do you do like little kind of trinkets, or I know some people do that. They add like little card things, or thanks for ordering. And you know, it's kind of like a handwritten thing. It was just kind of cool.
Yeah. I put thank you notes in there. I should probably come up with something to personalize each box that I send out. There is one person who's been very consistent with their ordering that I think I'm going to throw in a special gift for her.
Oh, that's cool.
She's been awesome.
That's awesome. So another thing I want to know is how long do the candles go? Like when you set it up and you start using them, like how long do they generally last?
Okay, yeah. I usually burn my candles for about 3 hours at a time. I think that's a pretty round number just because you light it and forget about it.
Right, yeah.
And 3 hours on the daily, this will probably last you about a month.
Okay.
Month and a half if you're conservative, but yeah, about a month. And the smaller one, 2 weeks to 3 weeks, just depending how often you burn your candles. I've actually not burned as many candles since I've made them, just because, I mean, you don't want to take away from your own supply.
Of course, yeah.
But yeah, when I do burn them, they last me about a month, just over a month.
And then, of course, like you said, they're totally recyclable. And so you can, that's the point of the mason jars.
Yeah.
With obviously, you're thinking of new designs as well. What else, as far as ideas that you've had that have been really like, you want to do, you like, these are keepers. I want to incorporate these down the road. Because you said like you got 3 months out, or not 3 months, 3 years out.
Yeah.
You've got some things in the works. Like what are some of the key things?
Definitely my coffee collection. Those are always going to be my babies. I'm going to have those forever and ever. And then I'm working on an idea of a canna candle. So incorporating cannabis in a candle.
Really?
Yes.
Okay.
That's on the back burner at the moment because I have to play with some things. But that one I'm really excited to work with. And that will incorporate essential oils.
Okay.
People have asked me at the stock market especially if these have any healing properties. Because a lot of people make candles with essential oils to help like relaxation and stress and all of that. I haven't touched that market yet. Because personally, I'm not familiar with all of that, and I don't want to jump into something unless I absolutely know what I'm doing.
Yeah.
But maybe down the road, once I understand the essential oil part of it, I'll incorporate those. But with my cannabis candle, I'm really excited about that one.
I think that would be very cool because I feel like there's like a whole untapped market of that, and then people are like gradually exploring that with different things. And I think I've seen some other vendors at Stock Market with just the oils or the sprays or something. And I think something like that would be very, very unique.
Yeah, I know the guy next to me had asked me, he's like, when are you, because I think I had told him, and he's like, well, you need to get on that. He's like, by the next stock market, he's like, you need to have one. I'm like, well, I'm going to try.
Yeah.
But yeah, that one I'm really excited to see how that'll turn out.
And so with all that, how long, I don't think I asked you, but how long does it actually take you to make one?
Oh, from like pour to set?
Yeah. A day? Wow.
Yeah. Yeah, because I mean the whole thing has to set and be solid before you can even move it. So it takes a day, and then I snip the wick and screw on the lid and slap on the label, and it's ready.
Wow, a day to make those.
Yeah.
So what's the biggest amount that you've had to do?
I've made, I think in one day was about 2 dozen.
Okay.
Yeah. So if I have a whole day to actually make candles, that's about the most I can make in one day is 2 dozen.
That's pretty good.
It's a lot.
Yeah, that is. But yeah, that's quite a bit. And then when you're doing the shipping and stuff, obviously that takes a lot of time too, right? Yeah,
because I have to wrap each candle in bubble wrap and then stuff the whole box with a bunch of, helpful padding. Because unfortunately, my mom has gotten a broken candle.
Oh, okay. Oh,
yeah.
Bummer.
I know. Luckily, but unluckily, it was her.
Yeah. Well, yeah, that's that too. It's like, oh, well, yeah. And then you're just like, well, how do I, refine this to make it a little
and that's
safer?
And that's entrepreneurship, and that small business is just figuring things out along the way. As soon as the problem comes, you learn how to fix it, and then you never have that problem again. Hopefully.
Yeah. And that's the cool thing about what you're doing. It's just a very kind of, you're going to run into those trial and errors, but you definitely don't want you seem like very high energy, very super motivated, and a go-getter. And I think that's really great, because sometimes those setbacks can just like, oh man, and then you just kind of don't want to do those things. And like you say, the support system is very important as well, because you're going to run into those days, but if you have the right people around you, the positive mindset people, you're going to keep moving forward regardless of a broken candle or whatever happens to you. Yeah,
my mom, my sister, and my sister-in-law, they've all heard it.
Yeah.
They get phone calls and, I'm sad or I'm depressed or just like angry about a candle or something, and they just bring me right back up. They're like, you know what, it's a setback, but keep going. And that's just the kind of attitude that you need to make something successful.
Well, it was great having you on the show. I don't know where Dustin is. He's around here somewhere. We'll get him at some point. But so we know where you're at. We know Stock Market's coming up. There's the man, the myth, the legend. And we are excited to come out because, Dustin and I are always at Stock Market. I think we missed the one before, so that's probably why I didn't see you at June. But we caught you in August. It was super cool. We'll catch you again in October. And then, of course, if anyone has any questions for Taylor, you can always reach out to her on Facebook and Instagram. And then, of course, you probably have like some calendar of events on social media where you're going to be at.
Not yet, but I will.
Okay. Well, so we're just letting you know
reminded me.
Yeah, you can reach out to us, and then, of course, she's going to be at Stock Market. So that's the big one. That's October 13th, 10 to 4. You can get these candles. You can go in for free smells and check it out. And, of course, Instagram, where she's got a lot of her photos as well. You can order online. And anything else you want to say before we take off, Taylor? Any advice? Advice? Yeah, for young entrepreneurs.
Oh, just keep working.
Yeah?
Just keep going, because it's hard, but the end payoff is worth it. Even the small little victories, you got to celebrate them.
Yes.
And just keep going. Don't give up.
Don't give up. Well, thank you for coming. Thank you for being a part of this. It's awesome.
Thank you so much. I actually called my mom on Stock Market. I said, Mom, today was the day my life changed, because you guys had called me or met me and told me to come onto the radio. So this was amazing. We
want you to come back and be part of it, and and come on with groups of people, kind of, so you guys can all bounce your discussions and different things and learn from each other. So it's awesome to have you. Thanks for coming out.
Thank you so much. Woo!
All right, Dustin, take it away.
You've been listening to Challenge Mode right here on The Voice of Stockton. For more information on The Voice of Stockton, go to thevoiceofstockton.org.